Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Mosaic Souls. Hey, Mosaic Souls. My name is Rachael Alexander, and welcome back to Divine Earth School, the place where we talk all about your divinity and learning how to embody that while in human form. My name is Rachael Alexander. If you're new to this channel, and I am a Mosaic Soul and Mosaic Soul mentor and artist, and that means AKA spiritual life, wellness, and business coach here at Divine Earth School. So I'm super excited to talk about today's topic as we're continuing this November series all about the journey within. Feel free to say hi in the chat if you're joining me live. So for the month of November, I'm doing this free series where I'm diving into the topic of the journey within, which is all about embracing our true selves and really getting to know ourselves, and simple daily tips and things of that nature that you can actually utilize in your life to create more connection with your true soul self. So today I wanted to talk about how to cultivate your intuition, and more specifically share 18 ways that you can cultivate your intuition. And as always, I always like to give clear frames of references when we are talking about this topic. And so today I wanted to talk about not what is intuition, we can touch on that, but why would you want to increase your intuition? So let's talk about what intuition is, and then why you would want to increase your intuition. So to me, simply put, your intuition is like the language of your soul, the language of your higher self, your infinite self beyond just your human fleshly suit, right? So increasing your intuition, the reason why you would want to increase your intuition is because you're deciding to know yourself is to truly know yourself beyond just the human suit, because this is all temporary in this karmic or cosmic game called planet Earth. And so if you get to know who you are beyond just your human self, you start tapping into the language and speaking the language, understanding, decoding the language of your higher self, of your soul, of the timeless, limitless version of yourself. And so that's the reason why you would want to cultivate your intuition, and also just a myriad of different other benefits other than, making life a lot easier. I like to akin your intuition to, like, if you were thinking about you being in sort of like this dark, huge warehouse, and your logical mind is sort of like a little flashlight, where it can just kind of point or whatever. And it might not even be that. The logical mind just might be the flashlight, and the actual light is the intuition. But the intuition is not just the light, but it's like the actual flipping the switch on the entire warehouse, so you're not like walking around, bumping around in the dark, right? So the intuition sort of, to me, is sort of like this entire language that opens up gateways to accessing more expanded versions of yourself, deeper knowledge and wisdom that goes beyond just the logical mind, that goes beyond societal conditioning, programming, and the like. So that's the main reasons why you would want to cultivate your intuition. So let's talk about these tips and dive into this. I'm chatting away. Give me a second and let me make sure that you can hear me. Let's see. We're dying to believe. Okay, cool. Good. We're in good standing. So, tip number one, way number one, that you can start to cultivate more of your intuition is to decalcify your pineal gland. So what is your pineal gland? A lot of times the pineal gland is known as sort of the third eye, right? In the third eye chakra, sort of the gland of your higher consciousness, the gland that sort of propagates DMT, or known as like the higher consciousness hormone. And so a lot of times, just coming into this world, from the shots they give you right after your mother gives you birth, to the foods and the processed foods and all the hormones and stuff they put in the meat and stuff like that, all that stuff over time, and the consistent like subconscious programming and mind attacks that are going on, that really calcifies your pineal gland. And I'm hearing something behind my house. I don't know what that is. Okay, gonna keep it moving. So there are many ways to decalcify the pineal gland. So if you think of sort of like the pineal gland as the gland that help you access your intuition, that is what is crucial. Sorry, I'm like hearing somebody behind my house. Okay, anyways. When you're decalcifying your pineal gland and you're basically getting rid of the calcium phosphate deposits and the muck that sort of clouds this gland that prevents you from accessing or tapping into your third eye. So the basic things that you can do to decalcify the pineal gland is get rid of processed foods, right? Go more plant-based, and just try to eat more clean in general. So making sure that most of what you eat, you can actually pronounce and know what ingredients are going into the foods that you're consuming. And then another thing that you can do is get rid of fluoride toothpaste and aluminum deodorants. So try to get fluoride-free toothpaste and aluminum-based deodorants and stuff like that. Aluminum-free, deodorants. Those are two other things that sort of calcify the pineal gland. Also doing sort of the third eye meditation, meditating on sort of the violet light or white light, and just sort of seeing your third eye chakra being in its perfectly healthy state, going out in nature and getting actual physical contact with nature, sun gazing, making sure you're getting the sun and sort of taking your shades off and doing a little bit of sun gazing and feeling the sun on your skin, but also looking up at the sun for a few seconds. And other things like art magic and doing other, I call it art magic, but basically just getting into the arts and creative things like that. So meditation and various different ways to decalcify the pineal gland. So that's tip number 1. And then tip number 2 is to work on increasing what I like to call your clear powers. And your clairs are your senses, right? These are basically the aspects of your ways, like your tools of your intuition. So if you think of your intuition as the language of your soul, think of your clairs as sort of like the alphabets, like the alphabets are the words that make up the language, right? So your clairs are like your 5 senses. You have clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairgustance, and then I can't remember the name of it, clairalience or something, which is smell, and then touch, which is I think clairgustance or whatever. Now I'm mixing that up. Hearing. Anyways, point is, tap into increasing your clairs, right? So there's usually 4 main ones, which is claircognizance, which is that the knowing before all the other clairs. So claircognizance is sort of the one that we all tap into, where you just know something and you know that you know that you know, but you don't know how you know. That's sort of one language of the one aspect of the language of intuition. But then also the second one is clairsentience, having this feeling sense in the body, or clairaudience, where you hear or receive messages through sound, not technically sound, but it could be sound. And then clairvoyance. Clairvoyance. Welcome. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Welcome, Miss Coffee Girl. Welcome to Divine Earth School. So I'm just going through these tips. The first one I shared was decalcifying the pineal gland, and then this one is working on increasing your clair powers, right? And just tuning in. There's so many various exercises that you can do to start to strengthen your different clairs. Claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience are the 4 main ones that we all usually have some level of degree or tapping into. So start doing that. And then third way is to question societal programming, right? So don't take things at face value all the time. A lot of times from childhood, we're told to fall in line and, raise your hand when spoken to. And although like that programming is useful and discipline is useful to some degree, it can also stifle our creativity and stifle our ability to think outside the box and to actually create lives that are more in alignment with our heart and our souls. So learning to question societal programming, question, why things are the way they are. And when you start to question them, it's not necessarily to become skeptical per se, but it's to sort of dismantle a lot of programming that doesn't serve you, and then to reinforce the programming that does, right? Because not everything is not of service to you, right? Like certain things that you learn, how to bathe and how to brush your teeth, those are good things to know, right? Like, but other things that we learn in our society, like learning to just question the sort of the big things in life, that also helps you to tune into your intuition, because then you're no longer allowing subconscious programming from other people or mind attacks, or what do you call that? Mind control, to kind of take over your life, right? So question societal programming. That's way number 3. Way number 4 is to shut out the noise, right? So decrease distractions, right? There's a time and a place for everything, right? And a lot of times we're so bombarded with so many things that we don't even take the time to get quiet and still to listen to our intuition. And sometimes there's always cycles of things in our lives, right? And I like to akin this to what I call the creation cycle, which is very much so similar to just like the seasons. If you think of the seasons, I call it the ethereal essence, your whimsical essence, and your grounded essence, and then just the Mosaic Soul essence. But basically, if you think of like the birthing cycle as spring, you think of the nurturing cycle as summer, you think of the maturation cycle as fall, and then you think of the death and destruction cycle as winter. We all have these different seasons and different aspects and areas of our lives. And when we don't listen and tune into those things, and we're constantly receiving messages from other people and look at this and try this ritual and do this thing, it's like you're not even taking the time to be like, okay, that's valuable. I'm such a spiritual pragmatist at this stage in my life. I've always been very spiritually pragmatic, but it's like there's only so much you can actually do and implement in your life. So learning to shut out the noise and tune into what's relevant for you in your life will help you to increase your intuitive muscle, because you're not always looking outside of yourself for the answer, right? I have a friend who is really into signs and symbols and looking and reading the universe and stuff like that, and that's cool. But like for me, it always comes back to pragmatism. Like, why do I need to look outside of myself for answers that already lie within, right? So shutting out the noise, shutting down, decreasing distractions will help you to start to tune in to that voice that's already there, that language that's already available to you, right? So just understanding that. 5th way is to tune into signs and symbols. So one of the ways that you can do that, I don't know if I brought it with me, is you can, I was trying to show you a picture that I took of this katydid the other day. Anyways, there's this katydid outside my house the other day. And there's all types of signs and symbols. Like, your soul is always speaking to you in several different ways. And because I'm such a nature girl, my soul has if you're joining me live, feel free to say hi in the chat. But because I'm such a nature girl, my soul will use like different animals or things like that, nature things, to like remind me of certain principles or to sort of reinforce certain things that I'm journeying through. So the other day, as I was like walking outside my house, I saw like a little katydid. It's basically like a leaf insect, an insect that literally looks like a leaf, and it was just like sitting on my not balcony, but the banister or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was just like kind of looking it up, like, seeing different meanings. And it was like so like in tune, on point with what I was working through, like opening up and, retuning my heart chakra and other things of that nature. So just tuning into signs and symbols that you see. And one of the ways that you can do that is to keep a journal. Other things that you do receive, right, of your insights and your hits that you receive, right? By doing that, you can start to follow through on the things that you do receive, the insights you receive, which moves into the 6th way, which is receive, digest, act, and reiterate. So what I mean by this, and this is a whole like multi-step process basically, is like you receive insights. We receive insights all the time. But then there's this other process, which is very similar to the cycle of purpose that I shared the other day. It's very similar to the creation cycle. Everything is like, as above, so below, as within, so without kind of thing. But so you're receiving insights, and then the other part is you're digesting. So digesting those insights, taking it in. What does this mean? Do I need to clear any blocks of that nature? Do I need to remove any old beliefs or patterns or shift things around? Usually when you're manifesting things that you desire or moving into a different direction, certain things need to shift in order for that to be birthed into the world. But if you don't take the time to receive and digest, then you can't really utilize your intuition, right? And then act is implement what you receive, right? And then reiterate is to record and review. So keeping a journal, back to that whole idea of keeping a journal of what you receive, seeing if some of your intuitive insights actually came to life, right? Thank you for the hearts. Seeing if some of those insights actually came to life. Did, maybe let's say you did a little meditation, you got this intuitive insight to, call up a friend, from way back when, and then you just write down in your journal at the night, I just got this intuitive, I need to really talk to Suzanne or whatever for this reason, and for some reason I feel like this is going to help me move my life in this direction. And then come back a week later and look at your journal or 2 weeks later and see if that hunch or that insight actually made some level of difference in your life. You can't really know if your intuition is working. Your intuition is always working, but like on a mental level, right? Tapping into that mental knowing, until you like reiterate and review, right? Review and record what you receive. And then the 7th way is good old meditate, right? Creating that daily meditation practice of, of just quieting the mind and tuning into your higher self, getting still and learning to listen to that inner voice, right? So for most people, like intuition has a very like soft voice. For most of us, our intuition isn't going to yell at us. So learning to quiet the mind, learning to quiet or soothe the emotions so that you can tune in to your inner voice helps you to do that, right? So if a simple practice that you can start doing is setting a timer for 10 minutes a day and finding a relaxing and comfortable position, and then closing your eyes and just staying quiet for a moment, right? And observing your breath, right? Noticing any thoughts or emotions that are arising, and then just sort of noticing them, not judging them, and then removing your attention from the rising bubbles of thoughts and emotions, and then just returning your attention to the breath, right? That's just a simple meditation that you can start to do daily. The 8th way is dreams, right? So during our waking hours, our cognitive brain is really in control. So if you start utilizing the power of your subconscious mind to share with you insights and intuitions and next steps, or I know like my mom has always been sort of a prophetic dreamer. So like your soul can send you like, what is that called? Well, not cognition. I can't remember. This sort of precognition or something, predestination. Basically, you can receive like hits on like future events or just things that you need to work through the power of your dreams. So tapping in and keeping a journal of your dreams, keeping a notebook of what's going on in your dreams, like what characters are playing out, what symbols or signs or like events or environments are you finding yourself in, and what those each mean and what that means for you in your life in this moment, right? And sort of recording your dreams can help you to decode some of the messages from your subconscious mind and tap into your intuition. So that's another step. So that is step way number 8. Way number 9 is to include more nature into your life. So spending time in nature away from technology is one of the best ways to quiet your mind, right? So nature is a great way for us to get in tune with our ancestral self and our celestial intuition, our divine intuition. So this is where, you start tapping into, your ancestors. You can start receiving ancestral magics, tapping into fairy magic and stuff like that. One of the reasons why I love nature so much is I think I'm a fairy in a simultaneous life. So I love fairies and I love nature and I love talking to the trees and stuff like that. So tuning into nature and just and receiving messages from nature, like just watching geese or watching nature and just sort of seeing what, certain things are there, starts to help you see certain patterns in your life, because everything is sort of a reflection, the macrocosm, a microcosm of the macrocosm, and nature reflects back to you certain lessons and stuff like that. I remember one time I was like super upset or something about something, and so I was like, let me just go to my favorite spot is this beautiful lake that I like to visit. And I was just sitting there, and I was walking around the lake, and then I just felt like sitting down. I was sitting down at the lake, and I started watching these geese, and they started going at it. Like, one of them was like tormenting the other one, and the other one was just trying to swim peacefully, but that other one just kept like trying to gawk at it or whatever. And then eventually the other one started snapping back, and then eventually they went away and like started flapping their wings like really, quickly or whatever. And to me, I saw that, and then as soon as they finished flapping their wings and stuff, they got like real peaceful again and just started swimming on the lake or whatever. And to me, it was just like this moment of like, oh right, like I don't have to hold on to stuff. I can immediately alleviate this energy by just feeling it and getting it out my body and moving or doing whatever I need, and then going back to peace, because peace is my natural state of being, right? Too often as human beings, we hold on to shit, and we have a tendency to like hold on to things for long periods of time and wonder why, grudges and all this other stuff, and not realizing that we're actually holding on to things that's harming us and creating sort of energetic blockages in our bodies, energetic blockages in our emotions, and wondering why we're not able to manifest certain things. So learning to release that and going into nature is one of the greatest ways that you can start to increase your intuition. I think there's the 10th way. The 10th way is to get creative. So doing something creative, singing every day. Like, we all have a voice, even if you sound like, a quacking duck, it doesn't matter. Sing to yourself. Start doing things that are creative and make you feel joy. Like, your intuition is sort of like, the language of the soul, and the soul is playful to me in my mind. So like, yeah, we came here for different levels of purpose, right? As I shared in, I'll link a video below or above about, the different cycles of purpose. But like in general, tuning into your intuitive faculties, one of the reasons why kids are so insightful, little children are so insightful, is because they're tapped in to that playful side of them. They're having fun and they're doing their thing, and tapping back into that energy through the power of creativity, painting, drawing, building something, sketching something, cooking something, getting out in nature and making something, a fort or whatever, doing something creative, helps you tap into your intuition more, because that playfulness brings out more insights. I shared in another past live, I'll link that also below, where I talked about the power of creativity and what that opens up within you, right? So getting creative actually definitely helps you to cultivate your intuition. The 11th way is to get in tune with all your senses. So this is the same thing as in tuning into your clairs, and increasing your clairs, but more specifically by tuning into, your 5 senses, you start to recognize the different sensations and intuitive insights and hits that you receive, right? Being more present also, the presence power that increases when you tune into your intuition. Like, just for a second with me right now, close your eyes and tune in to what you feel in your hands, what you feel on your skin. What is the air quality around you? Is it cold? Is it warm? Where are you sitting right now? What are you feeling? Are you sitting on a couch that's a velvet couch, or are you sitting on a hard chair? Are you sitting on your bed? Just feel the sense of touch, right? Tuning into your senses helps you to tap into this present moment, this now moment, right? And also tune into, which is really the only place that you can access your intuition, which is in the present moment. But tuning into your senses helps you to cultivate your intuition, because then now you're tuning into these different senses that allows you to, tuning into all of your senses, which allows you to pay attention to the different insights and divine messages that you may receive through the various different senses that you are having on this during this human fleshly pursuit that we're all having, right? And then this is the 12th way or 13th, one of those. Hold on, let me see. Okay, let's say this is number 12. Is to follow your hunches, right? So a surefire way to develop your intuition is to test out, your hunches, right? So like I kind of shared with the receive, digest, act, and reiterate, is to follow through with what you receive, right? So when you're going about your daily life and keeping a journal and writing down the little insights that you get, the little intuitive hits that you get, be sure to record them and to follow through with them and see where it leads, you know what I mean? Because you can, ask your higher self, hey, can you help me strengthen my intuition? I want to be able to communicate with better. I want to be able to increase my clairvoyant abilities. So can you start sending me more visions of things, insights of things, instead of just sending it to me in a sensory and like a touch way, right? You can ask your higher self for things like, can you send me certain things, and then follow through with that insight and see where it leads you, right? So follow through on your hunches. The next way is to switch up your daily routine. So a lot of times we can kind of get, there's value in consistency, right? On a human level. Like if we were always in turmoil, always trying something new, or always doing something different, then our lives would be very chaotic and there would be no stability. But there is also value in stability, and that's where the intuition comes in, right? Value in trying something new or switching up your daily routine. And this is where intuition comes in, because usually switching up your daily routine or switching up something and doing something different helps you to move into a different level of manifestation. And so when you're always doing something in the same way and you're wanting to create something new and different in your life, doing the same things is not going to help you get to where you want to be, because doing the same things that you've been doing has led to your current level of manifestation, your current thing of manifestation, right? So when you start switching up your routine and doing something different, you tune into a different vibrational state of being, which allows you to listen to that intuition and tune into that intuition, which can start throwing your cognitive brain or your unconscious, your subconscious mind for a loop, and start to rewire different things in your brain so that you can start developing new habits or new awarenesses around this new level of manifestation that you're moving into. But if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and you're banging your head against the wall on, let's say you're wanting to lose weight and you've tried like 80 million different things to try to lose weight, but you just never can get past, that 5 pound marker or whatever, or you lose the 20 pounds and then in 3 more weeks you gain it back and plus an extra 5, and this cycle keeps repeating itself over and over. Trying something new by, just tuning into your intuitive faculties and doing something different, versus maybe a diet culture, but maybe focusing on, sleeping better and getting rid of your stress. If you always went at it from the diet point of view, maybe trying something completely different, or focusing on feeling good and focusing on doing things that bring you joy. And then all of a sudden you start to notice the weight starts flying off. And then next thing you know, 3 years later, it stayed off, right? So trying something new and switching up your daily routine helps you to increase your intuition as well, because it helps you to slow down and do something different and start reprogramming your subconscious into a different direction. And then the next way is to replay last events. So sit down and try to think back to a situation where things didn't really go as planned or didn't go as you really wanted, and start to visualize yourself back in that situation. So notice any feelings or moments where you felt as if something was wrong, and was there an opportunity to go at it in a different way, right? Was there a moment where your inner voice spoke to you for a moment, or you felt like your monkey mind kind of took over, even though maybe your intuition was like, do this. Your monkey mind was like, no, how could I do that? That doesn't make sense, right? And the monkey mind comes in and starts arguing, but your intuition doesn't argue with your monkey mind. It's just like, well, I told you to do this. If you're gonna listen, you're gonna listen. If you're not, whatever, it's up to you. So learning to replay past events and seeing like where in your life you followed through on your intuition and it led to a desired outcome, versus you not following your intuition and it not leading to you to somewhere. I have so many counts in my life of both of where I didn't listen to my intuition and I put myself in danger, and it's just like, oh my God. And other times where I listened to my intuition and something beautiful and magnanimous like manifested from it. So just sort of kind of doing a recount of past events of times you did listen to your intuition, what it felt like. What way did your intuition speak to you? Was it through a vision? Did you get like this kind of claircognizant moment? Did you get this sort of inner knowing? What way did your intuition speak to you? So replaying past events and then seeing how your intuition speaks to you already, and seeing what ways that you can start to cultivate more of that into your life. The next way is to do breath work. And so breath work is definitely one of a really easy way to start quieting the mind. So other than nature and, meditation, breath work is basically where you start, emptying your lungs of air and doing different nostril breathing, right? Like I learned in like Kemetic yoga, we would do these kind of nostril breathing techniques or whatever. And just getting into different breath work techniques that help you to like increase your like Kundalini energy in the body, but also like that energy of vibration in the body helps you to like tap into this present moment even more, and also sort of helps you regulate your parasympathetic nervous system. It gets your parasympathetic nervous system back online and more calm, right? So doing breath work is very helpful. And then the next way is to think less and feel more. So our cognitive mind, like I was sharing in that sort of example before, is beautiful and it has its place, and logic is awesome, and it's great, but it's only one small piece of the puzzle, right? So when you start to tune more into your feelings and your clairs and your senses and stuff like that, you start to access more of your intuition, because in your intuition a lot of times will bypass your logical mind. So back to sort of that example of you sort of recounting a past event. Remember a time when you didn't listen to your intuition. Your intuition maybe gave you something. Maybe it was like claircognizance, like you've heard a voice like go left, but you're like, why would I go left? There's always traffic when I go left. And then your egoic mind or your monkey mind starts thinking, right, of all the reasons why you shouldn't do what your intuition just told you to do, right? So a lot of times when you bypass the logical mind and tune into your intuition, you're going to receive so much more intuitive insights and hits and knowledge and wisdom that you wouldn't get just through the logical mind. Now, the logical mind has its place. I like to think of the logical mind and the monkey mind, your mental body, as a servant to your soul. But when your monkey mind is acting as the master, it usually gets a lot of stuff wrong. So starting to think less and feel more, which helps you to increase your intuition, right? And then let's see, I don't know what number I'm on. Let me see. Okay, so there's two more. So this is number 17. Number 17 is practice sensing people before you meet them. As an empath, I think I've done this all the time. Like I have another friend who always, well, not always, but sometimes finds themselves in difficult or challenging situations because they will meet people and they don't tap into their intuition, or they don't read people's energy, right? And so like before, let's say you're meeting someone, or you're going on a date, or you're meeting another business partner, or you're having lunch with a new person, right? Try to sense their energy before you walk into the room and meet them. Or try to sense it. It could be like an actual person of your own, like it could be a partner or something like that. Maybe like as you're on your way home from work, try to sense what your partner is, not necessarily, you don't want to like invade their auric field per se, but see if you can sense where they are at energetically, right? Imagine yourself, being with that person and sensing what they're feeling or thinking, and energetically sensing and sort of sensing them out, right? And getting a sort of a lay of the land of their energetic blueprint that they're sort of giving you, the energy that they're giving you. And one of the reasons why this is pretty cool is because it really increases your power of discernment. I think that's one of the things that's been passed down through my generation, like my mom, my grandma, and all my aunts and stuff like that, is a power of like discernment. And a lot of times people don't tap into their discernment is because they meet people and at face value and they don't sense people's energy, right? And not to say that you need to be evading other people's energy, but it can be a superpower because you can start to read people's underlying intentions for you without them even needing to say anything evil or bad or whatever. So a lot of times, starting to practice sensing people before you interact with them will actually save you a lot of headaches in the future. And I can attest to this from just so many things in my life where I've avoided certain people or certain situations. And like, let's say a friend of mine got into like, a virtual friendship or like a quote unquote friendship or energetic, like contract or something with that person, and then it totally went awry, and that was because they weren't tuning in or sensing that person's energy and sensing what that person's intentions were beyond just, you know, what the person was saying that they were. People say things versus what they mean, and a lot of times that's incongruent. It's not there's a cognitive dissonance going on, or there's not a congruency in who they're showing themselves to be. So a lot of times learning to sense other people and increasing your sense of discernment will help you out and increase your intuition as well. And then the last piece is just the gratitude, increasing. And I did a whole live on the power of gratitude and ways that you can increase your gratitude. But in this day and age, you know, it's really easy to look at and focus on the negative aspects of your life and forget about all the good stuff that we have going on. So increasing your gratitude practices and increasing focusing on the things that are going well in your life will put you in a higher vibrational frequency, which also helps you to tap in and tune into your intuition. So those are the 18 ways to increase and cultivate your intuition. I'll do a recap. Feel free to say hello in the chat if you're joining me live as I'm going back to do this recap. So way number 1 is decalcify your pineal gland. And if you want more details on each of the ones, you could just go back and watch the replay, because I went through each of these a little bit more in depth. So number 1 is to decalcify your pineal gland. Number 2 is to work on increasing your clair powers, clear cognizance, clear audience, clairvoyance, etc. Number 3 is to question societal programming. Number 4 is to shut out the noise and decrease distractions. Number 5 is to tune in to sights, signs, and symbols. You're so welcome. I'm glad it's resonating, Miss Coffee Girl. I'm glad it's resonating. Number 5 is to receive, digest, and act. And I broke that down. Number 6 was to meditate. Number 6 was receive, digest, and act and reiterate. Number 7 was to meditate. Number 8 was start recording your dreams and taking notice of your dreams. Number 9 was increasing your time in nature. Number 10 was getting creative. Number 11 is getting in tune with all your senses. Number 12 is following through on your hunches. Number 13, switch up your daily routine. Number 14, replay past events and seeing what did and didn't serve you and what ways your intuition was speaking to you. Number 17 was breath work. Number 16, breath work. Number 17, think less, feel more. Number 18 is to practice sensing people before meeting them. I'm skipping numbers. Don't listen to the numbers. Okay. But those practice sensing people before meeting them. And then number 18 is to have gratitude. So 17 was practice sensing people, and number 18 was have gratitude. So those are the 18 ways that you can start to cultivate your intuition. So let me know in the chat which way you resonate most with to start this week to increase your intuition. And it really starts in the baby steps, you guys. You don't have to do all of them. Like, I give these different ways because one way is going to resonate with one person over another person. So I give these tools and ways because one way might resonate with you at this stage in your life, and then you might find, a year later or 6 months later or 3 months later, now that you've implemented that way and it feels more embodied, now this new way feels more in alignment with continuing to cultivate and grow your intuition. So let me know in the comments below, for those of you who are watching the replay, which way you resonate with now and that you would like to implement in your life moving forward over the next 2 to 3 months. Or if you're joining me live, feel free to pop them in the chat. And feel free to ask me any questions for those of you who are joining me live around this topic, or if you have any questions in regards to creating more of a life that's in alignment with your heart and soul, feel free to drop those in the chat. I am doing daily laser coaching for the month of November for free, so feel free to drop those in the chat, and we will keep this train moving. So I'm going to let that play while give you guys a second to drop any questions that you may have in the chat. Coolio. So stay on for like another 20 seconds and give you guys a moment if you have any questions or insights that you want to ask or comments. Feel free to drop them in the chat. If not, I will hop off and I will see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. or another topic that I will come up with tomorrow. I've just kind of been flying off the seat of my pants with these topics. Whatever is dropping in my intuition or in my heart to do a live on is what I've been doing for this month of November about the Journey Within series. Okay, cool. So I don't see any questions popping up. So as always, flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, because you are divine. You are a divine being and your soul knows exactly what you've come to explore and experience while on this planet. So if you are looking for more help and support around creating your divine life, feel free to book a call with me or someone on my team at www.divineearthschool.com/call. And we can see if we working together would be helpful. On this call, it'll be a breakthrough call. It's not a sales call. It's more so seeing if we would be a good fit, or basically uncovering what are some of your blocks to living more in alignment with your heart and soul, your higher self, and action steps that you can actually lead into moving towards doing that. And one of those action steps might be to work with me. And if that's great, then awesome, there's alignment there. And if that's not, that's also perfect. But booking that call at www.divineearthschool is one of the best ways that you can really gain clarity on your life at this time and season. So feel free to do that. I'll drop the link in the chat. So feel free to book a complimentary discovery call with me at divineearthschool.com/call. And remember, what you receive is what you can see. What you receive is what you conceive. What you expect is what you'll get. And however you feel is what will become real for you. So vibrate higher, and I will chat with you guys tomorrow. Peace, love, and light.